Welcome back to Tales Recapped. Today, I'm going to explain the American sci-fi film called Axel, released in 2018. Let's begin. The movie begins in a high-technology laboratory called Crane Systems. One of their scientists gives a presentation about a new technology that they have built, a robot that is very effective, while also being as loyal as a dog. These dogs are called Axel: Attack, Exploration, and Logistics. They intend to use Axel to protect soldiers on the battlefield and fight their enemies. Meanwhile, a motocross racer named Miles Hill is taking part in a race, but his bike chain breaks and he loses. He looks angrily as the winner celebrates. Miles is quite poor, so he and his father Chuck go to them and ask them for an extra chain. The winner, Sam, tries to give them the chain, but his father is very rude and does not give it to them. Miles and Chuck sit sadly, but a girl named Sarah steals the chain and gives it to them. They quickly set up the bike and prepare for the next race. The race begins and everyone drives with a lot of skill. Sam leads the race, while Miles follows behind him. It's neck and neck, but Miles manages to win it and get the victory. Later, Sam congratulates Miles and invites him to a party, but Miles declines the offer. So Chuck tells him that Miles should go to the party to increase his connections. Back at Crane Systems, one of the Axel dogs has escaped the facility. The scientist, Andric, immediately sends out a search team to retrieve Axel. Meanwhile, the Axel dog can be seen near the city. That night, Miles goes to Sam's party. Sam takes Miles to the side where they are riding around. Sam uses a blowtorch to burn a damaged car, while the other boys record it. Miles does not like this, so he goes back into the house. There, he sees a lot of expensive bikes, and he sits to appreciate them. Sarah comes to talk to him, and they spend a nice time talking to each other. Later, Miles tells his father how it's unfair that people like Sam have everything. He says that if he had Sam's resources, he would be a national champion. At Crane Systems, Andric sits in a conference call with Captain Weber. She demands to see Axel's development soon, so Andric sends more drones to find Axel. The next day, Sam invites Miles to a ranch for some dirt biking. When Miles is distracted by Sam, Sam's boys put a drink into Miles' fuel tank. Miles then goes out to ride, but the bike shuts down and he takes a terrible crash. Once Miles' fall is captured on camera, Sam takes all his boys and leaves him alone. Miles removes the corrupted liquid and puts some fuel in his tank, but his bike does not start. Suddenly, he hears a sound from an abandoned container, so he goes there. Suddenly, Axel comes out of it, and Miles gets very scared. He takes his bike and drives away, but suddenly, the robotic dog spots him and comes after him. Miles gets scared and continues driving away until Axel falls and gets injured. So, Miles goes back to it. He sees that the dog has a muzzle over his mouth. From the point of view of Axel, we can see that he is going to self-destruct, but Miles gently holds him, and Axel connects with him. He also stops the self-destruct countdown. Miles then removes all the rubble. After that, Axel connects himself with Miles' phone. Miles takes him back to the container and starts fixing him using the information he's getting on the phone. The next day, Sam and the boys make a funny video of Miles, but Sarah interrupts them and demands to know where Miles is. Meanwhile, Miles is using his own bike parts to fix up Axel. Then he puts fuel in him. After that, he finally removes Axel's muzzle. His mouth is terrifying and has lots of weapons, but he does not bite Miles. After that, Miles and Axel play around on the ranch. However, they have been out in the open for so long, the scientist at Crane Systems finds them. The operator, Berman, prepares to crash Axel's system, but Andric stops Berman, saying that he wants to see Axel interacting with a human, and Miles is a good test subject for that. Later, Sarah arrives at the scene looking for Miles, but Axel spots her first and almost attacks her. Miles comes running and stops him. He says that Sarah is a friend, so Axel calms down and his eyes turn blue. That night, Miles and Sarah discuss what to do with Axel. Sarah says that they should take him back, but Miles points out some bullet holes. He says that Axel's previous owner probably shot him up. Seeing them like this, Axel puts on a song and some disco lights. Miles and Sarah start dancing, while Axel looks on. Berman says that Miles and Sarah are poor, so they should just give them a reward and take Axel back. But Andric says that Axel is becoming extremely sophisticated because of the human contact, so he continues to just observe them. The next morning, Miles and Sarah take Axel back with them by covering him up with a sheet. They stop at a gas station to refuel. There, Axel hacks the machine so they don't have to pay. He also hacks the ATM and dispenses a lot of money. Miles and Sarah take them all and run away. Elsewhere, Sarah's mother Joanna asks Sam where Sarah is, so Sam shows her how to track Sarah's phone. Sarah, Miles, and Axel are at an abandoned house where they do a bit of graffiti. Axel watches them and tracks all the designs in Sarah's hand movements. Then he shows them a presentation of Axel by Crane Systems. Sarah and Miles realize that Axel was designed to fight on the battlefield and kill other humans. Then Axel dispenses a biometric device. Miles touches it, and now they are paired with each other permanently. Andric and Berman see this happening. Berman freaks out, saying that they are now dependent on Miles. Just then, Sam comes to the house. Sarah goes out to confront him. Sam starts behaving aggressively, so Miles unleashes Axel on him. He then threatens Sam, while Sarah yells at him to stop, so Miles lets him go. He also tells Axel not to hurt him. At the lab, Andric is happy that Axel followed all of Miles' commands perfectly, but Berman points out that Miles could have used Axel to kill Sam. Meanwhile, Sarah gets angry at Miles. Apparently, her mother Joanna is the housekeeper for Sam's family. Now, their family could get in trouble because of Miles. Miles regrets his actions and apologizes. Sarah says that they need to tell a grown-up about this, so they decide to tell Miles' father. They leave Axel there and go to tell Chuck. That night, Sam comes back with his friends with the intention of attacking Axel. Axel sees Sam, but he does not attack him because Miles commanded him not to do so earlier. So he puts a lot of fuel on the ground and lures him out. He also tells his boys to make a live video about it. Then he brings out the flamethrower. Meanwhile, Chuck is telling Miles and Sarah to return Axel to the military. Suddenly, Sarah sees the live video on Axel and realizes what is happening. She and Miles leave, but they forget to take the biometric scanner. Sam burns Axel until his systems get damaged and he shuts down. The two scientists can only scream at the screen. Miles and Sarah arrive and find Axel all burnt and damaged. They manage to wake him up. Then they put him in a truck and follow it. Meanwhile, a government agent comes into Chuck's home. He shows a gun to him and asks questions about Miles. Just then, Chuck notices the biometric scanner that Miles left on the table. The agent goes to the garage and starts rummaging stuff, but Chuck comes with a bow and tells the agent to throw away his gun. When Andric sees this, he screams out in anger. Seeing that things are getting out of hand, Berman secretly sends an email to Captain Weber. Elsewhere, Miles and Sarah take Axel to a 3D printing station. There, they design Axel's parts and print them out. They also repair all his damaged wires. Axel sends a message saying that his hardware has been fixed and reboot will take less than 3 hours. While they wait for Axel to reboot, Miles and Sarah get hot with each other. But now that Axel is awake, Andric also finds the location and he sends other agents to retrieve him. The agents appear, but Miles and Sarah are hiding from them. Just as the agent is about to muzzle him, Axel reboots. Axel knocks out the agents with help from Miles and Sarah. Then, Axel reviews his memory and goes to kill Sam. Miles and Sarah follow him to stop him. Sam and his friends are having a huge caravan festival with a bonfire party. Axel also arrives there. This causes a huge panic and everyone starts running away. But Axel is only targeting Sam. Miles and Sarah also arrive at the location. They see Sam fighting back against Axel with the flamethrower, but he runs out of firepower. So Miles steps in between and stops Axel. But just then, more trouble arrives. A fleet of drones starts attacking Axel, while Andric watches patiently. The drones uses electric shocks to shut him down. Then the government agents come and put a muzzle on him. They also take away Miles and Sarah. Miles wakes up in the laboratory at Crane Systems. Andric says that he wants the biometric key back. Miles says that Axel is a living, breathing creature who needs care. But Andric says that Axel is just a machine. When Miles goes not give him the key, Andric puts Sarah inside a laser cage. If Sarah steps out, Axel will attack her. But Sarah uses a laser to make the graffiti art from earlier. Axel recognizes the hand motions and recognizes her as a friend. Instead, he turns towards Andric and Berman. The two of them start running away, but the military comes and arrests Andric. Berman apparently told everything to the military earlier. Back in the laboratory, Sarah decides to leave peacefully, but Miles and Axel run away from the military. Captain Weber calls in air support to shut down Axel. Miles and Axel ride across the countryside while military helicopters follow them. They both go over a cliff and Miles gets injured. Axel scans his body and sees that his arm is broken. Axel tries to help him, but Miles commands him to leave, so Axel starts running away. However, a group of drones start attacking him just like earlier. So Axel goes to a safe distance and initiates self-destruct countdown. He turns back to Miles and looks at him lovingly one last time. Then he explodes. Miles falls down, devastated at the loss of his dear friend. 6 weeks later, Captain Weber accuses Andric of releasing Axel's codes on the dark web. Meanwhile, Miles and Sarah have decided to go to college. They have both joined the same art school. Captain Weber says that Andric's Axel code is reassembling itself and building into something. She takes us his service again to contain it. Later, Miles takes the biometric scanner and activates it. Suddenly, they get notices on their phones from Axel. They smile with the implication that Axel is still alive in the form of software. And that is how this movie ends. Subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell icon. And lastly, leave a like as it will really help the channel out. Thanks for watching.